Yo, what's up, guys? So originally I wanted to run Ganyu as a sub DPS, but I have seen the monstrosity of work, the amount of damage this character can put out as a main DPS. Today I want to talk to you all about main DPS Ganyu and what she can bring to the table. So let's go and bring up her kit and show you exactly why main DPS Ganyu may be something you want to consider. Alright, so if you're going to be utilizing a DPS Ganyu, you're going to be utilizing her charge shot a lot. So this is her charge shot. She has a unique one. After level 1, of course, she gets to level 2. Now, the thing you're going to be playing around is this bloom. The best thing about this character is you don't necessarily have to shoot the character to get the bloom to actually work. As you can see, the bloom will always come out. So if you miss the target, you still have a chance for damage, and the biggest part of her damage actually comes from the bloom itself. So let's look at her kit and tell you what I mean by that. So if we look at her talents and we look at this is the only thing I got leveled up at the moment. You can see the skill attributes right here. It says the charge shot level 1 is going to be 174. The frost arrow is what we're looking for. That's the second one. That's 179. And then the bloom arrow damage is 305. So you get 2 points of damage here. 179% for me for talent level 6 and 305%. So when those hit, that is going to be the base of her damage. Now remember, she scales off crit damage for her basic skills. So this is going to help her out in the crit damage department, which is going to give her massive damage. On top of that, she has one of the highest base attacks in the game. So keep that in mind. One of the highest base attacks in the game, along with a crit damage base stat as well when you level her up. So very good as far as dishing out a tons of damage. Now, just talking about constellations real quick, you don't need her. C0 Ganyu is perfectly fine. But if you're going to go for a constellation, any at all, this is the one you're going to want to get. C1 is pretty much what you need. C1 is going to basically decrease cryo resistance for 15 seconds. I mean, for 15% for 6 seconds. And it's going to regenerate 2 energy for Ganyu every time she does this level 2 Frost Flake arrow, which you'll always be doing that if you're doing DPS Ganyu. So if you're playing DPS Ganyu and you want to get more damage out of your DPS Ganyu, reducing the cryo resistance and getting more energy for you makes it even better, because obviously her ult has a 100% uptime. So this is one of the things that they changed. Nobody saw it coming. Stealth buff for her. Duration is 15 seconds and cooldown 15 seconds. 60 energy cost. So that means every time this thing is up, it will never go on cooldown, because the cooldown is happening as it's going. So that means you'll always have this up if you have enough energy recharge to basically let that happen. Just keep that in mind. So that's one good thing for people who are running support Ganyu like myself. I was like, yeah, this is the way. But there's something here especially for DPS Ganyu. Now let's talk about certain weapons and artifacts you could use for this character. Now, of course, the #1 bow on Ganyu is going to be the Almost bow right here. This is going to basically increase her attack even more, as you can see. And it's at level 70 right now. This is also going to increase the normal and charge attack damage. Now, the charge attack damage is very important here. And the reason why it's so important is the bloom effect is actually considered inside of that. And that works for this weapon. It's going to work for a set too that we're actually going to talk about in just a bit. But you can see here, the Frost Flake arrow and the Frost Flake arrow bloom damage are both going to be increased by this weapon skill. And then, of course, the normal charge attack damage increased by 8% every 0.1 seconds, up to 5 times. You get an additional increase in that charge attack damage. This is why this is the best in slot bow for her. Now, of course, you could use Skyward Heart, but that's all you got. That is not going to be a bad weapon as well, but this one is going to be better. Now, as far as some free-to-play options that you can start utilizing, Prototype Crescent is going to be one of them, and we're going to talk about why that one's so good. So Prototype Crescent right here is also going to have that attack percent, so you're going to scale really nicely with her already high base attack. And then charge attacks hit on weak points, which you're going to be doing a lot of charge attacks. It's going to increase the move speed. That's not really what we're here for, but the attack by 36% increase for 10 seconds is what we're here for, as you can see right there. So nice additive bonus right there for that nice extra bit of damage. Of course, the other option you guys could go for, which is still in the shop if you are willing to basically use some of your currency, is going to be the Black Cliff bow. Now, because she is going to be a character that's going to excel at killing multiple enemies due to her spread on the bloom effect, killing an enemy and then getting this increase of attack by 12% for 30 seconds is going to be nice. And it's going to be able to stack up to 3 times to, you know, get that extra bit of damage. And it's going to overall give you even more crit damage, which her base scaling is crit damage. So if you have the crit stats to back this up, you could get even more crit damage. Imagine having a crit damage bow and a crit damage piece along with the sets that you're using and having enough crit rate to actually, like, you know, utilize that in that manner. That's a lot of crit damage on a character that already scales on crit damage, and you're having a nice high base attack to overall get into the 2Ks really easy in her attack. So some really nice things there when it comes to her weapons. Now, as far as her artifacts go, best in slot artifact is going to be Wonders Trope, but we all know how hard it is to get a good functioning Wonders Trope, considering you can only get it from pretty much drops from like elite bosses. Now, this is going to be good because the first set part is not really all that. It's increase the elemental mastery by 80, but that could help depending on the team comp you're using. And, you know, if you're going to be utilizing a melt comp or something like that, then this could definitely be something, especially if you're using like Xiaoling as a sub DPS for this. You can have her constantly doing that. You can be triggering all of that, give you a little bit extra damage from that. But this increased charge attack damage by 35% if the character uses a bow or catalyst, this once again is going to basically utilize that effect. Is going to give you even more damage on both of those attacks, from the frost arrow to the bloom effect as well. So 35% increased damage on both the arrow and that. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, some other sets you guys can use if you're going for main DPS Ganyu. I recommend a Gladiator 2-piece and a Blizzard 2-piece, and another one you could possibly do is a 4-piece of the Blizzard if you really need it, because it's obviously going to increase your cryo damage for the 2-piece and then give you more crit rate if you are low in the crit rate department. Now, some other things to basically keep in mind if you are in the low end of your crit rate like me, because my substats aren't the best. You can see 21% crit rate, you know, atrocious crit rate, but other ways you can help that out. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to hitting weak points, you're guaranteed a crit hit, 100% crit rate hit when you hit a weak spot, you hit a weak point. That is going to guarantee it. Now, that only guarantees it for the first hit. The second hit, the bloom effect, actually has to proc the actual crit. So do keep that in mind. So you'll be hitting the crit on your actual weak point on the frost arrow, but not the big part of your damage. You actually got to have the crit rate to put that up. But if you're going to be running her with another frost hero, another cryo hero, then you're going to get that initial increase in your crit as well. So keep that in mind. As you see, I'm running her with Chi-Chi right now, and that's because I'm getting that extra 15% crit rate when they're affected by frozen or cryo. And if you're using DPS Ganyu, they're always going to be affected by cryo. So keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind as well is you're going to also increase your crit rate passively from this. Crit rate of Substance Frost Flake Arrow has the resulting bloom effects increased by 20% for 5 seconds. So the bloom effect crit rate can be increased with this too. So the first time you shoot it is going to be like, I think, non-critive, but after that it's pretty much like 100% uptime as long as you keep proccing arrows. So having, you know, a character like how I have, you know, another cryo unit and then proccing this passive will help you with that initial extra crit rate. And as long as you're hitting the weak point, you can have a little bit of lower crit rate and focus on your crit damage and stuff like that. And that's going to really bring it home when it comes to making a DPS Ganyu. Now, one last thing I do want to go over before we actually show Ganyu in action is this bow right here. So a lot of people were trying to use Slingshot to see if they can actually, you know, break the system a little bit. This, if the normal charge or attack hits the target within 0.3 seconds of being fired, increases damage by 60%. This only works on the Frostblade arrow. This does not work on the bloom. So if you were thinking that this 3-star weapon was going to be something absolutely crazy to work on her at a refinement rank 5, is not actually going to be that crazy because it only works on the Frostblade arrow. I know some people were testing to see if it was going to work that way. If it did, it may be something kind of crazy, but yeah, this is not going to be the option for you free-to-play players to actually be thinking about. So the other two options that I talked about are pretty much going to be the ones you're going to be looking at when it comes to Ganyu as some free-to-play options. Okay, so we are about to fight the Pyro Flower. Once again, this is going to be a level 79 Ganyu versus a level 91 Flower, so the damage is going to be a little bit low, but I want to show you how much damage she can actually do even when she's under leveled. So let's go ahead and showcase this because it's absolutely insane. When the crits hit, it actually does massive damage. We're going to just set up here with Mona. Go ahead and try to break the shield a little bit. Set up this ult. And watch this damage just fucking stack. Now you gotta pay attention to your arrow because you want to get the full hit now. And look how much damage we're doing. Like massive amounts of damage. Like when you have everything set up, it just deletes And once again, this is a low crit Ganyu. Now, when crits actually do hit, I am getting around 20 to 21k damage as far as how my crits actually hit. And that's why this character is so strong, because even with my artifacts being so low, she could just put on the damage, and it's absolutely insane. Once again, only talent that's leveled up is the charge attack to increase the full DPS Ganyu. Now, next thing you probably want to level up if you're going to DPS Ganyu is probably her ult. I think that's the second most important thing when you're like utilizing this. This one is fine, but you know, this is something that's very good for like a sub DPS Ganyu, especially when you want to pull them together. Now, this can be utilized, you know, if you got a bunch of enemies, you want to utilize it in the sense to like gather them together and then start, you know, going from that. Very experimental stuff is a lot of people are trying out this Mona Ganyu comp to double, you know, so you can freeze them pretty easily. It is a way to keep them frozen pretty nicely like that. So you can just like get a constant freeze and then like got them like that. Works very well with Albedo too if you're using him, because of how the charge shot actually works. You're actually going to be on the timer of every time you get a full charge, you're going to be proccing the Albedo actual effect for getting extra geo damage. Is actually on the perfect timer for it. So actually very nice when that comes, considering like how long the animation cancels and stuff are. Perfect timer. It absolutely is insane, increasing your damage by another like 3 to 5k depending on how built your Albedo actually is. And that's pretty much it for Ganyu. Let me know if you're going to be fully on Ganyu or if you already had. I definitely want to know if you guys are interested in the unit. I know a lot of people are interested in Xiao, but once they saw this character, they were a little hesitant to like not pull on her because of how good she was looking and stuff like that. So definitely let me know if you pulled on her or not. Also, let me know if you are going support Ganyu or if you're going DPS Ganyu after seeing what this character can actually do as a full-on DPS. I know some people don't like doing aim and charge shots, especially on mobile devices, but let me know if it's something you're going to try. I definitely want to hear. Anyway, if you like anything I had to say today, drop me a like. I greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, follow me on my socials. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you know the next video goes live. As always, my name is Dyken, and I'll see you next time. Signing out.